What's going on, everyone? I hope you're well. It's official. Alexander Isak wants out of Newcastle. And I think the big question is, where will he go? Now, look, I know a lot of you are probably sitting there going, well, it's obvious he's going to go to Liverpool. And look, you're probably right. He probably will end up at Liverpool, which is mental considering the money that they've already spent, the fact that they've literally just gone out and spent 90 million on a striker, so a person in the exact same position, the person that Newcastle wanted to sign, and they are considering the idea of going back into the market to buy another striker valued anywhere from 120 to 150 million pounds. I mean, it is quite absurd to think about the amount of money Liverpool are looking at spending in this transfer window. It's mind-boggling. Well over 400 million, and they've set the bar so high that I'm starting to get a little bit worried. I won't lie. It's kind of almost getting to that point where you're like, it almost doesn't matter what Arsenal do from here on out. It's going to be an uphill battle. But I think as an Arsenal fan, I wanted to take this back to a conversation that was going on for the last few months, which is, are Arsenal going to push the boat out and go after an Isak? And we were told that if Newcastle made Champions League, Isak wouldn't be looking to leave because, you know, he's won a trophy with Newcastle. They're now in the Champions League. He's going to be playing Champions League football. There's no reason why Isak would want to leave, and there's no reason why Newcastle would sell. So we kind of ate that up as Arsenal fans and said, right, it's too hard. We're not going to get him. It's not realistic. And we've obviously changed our course, and now we're about to announce the signing of Gyökeres. But it kind of takes me back to what I've been speaking about, which is this has all come about off the back of Liverpool showing some interest. Liverpool having some conversation with Newcastle to say, hey, we're here, we're interested, what's the situation? Newcastle have obviously said, not for sale. But that conversation has sparked Isak to step up and say, you know what? I want out. I do want out. And that's my problem. Like, why weren't Arsenal going in and having that conversation? Who knows? If Arsenal had have knocked on that door a month ago, maybe Isak would have turned around and done the same thing and said, you know what, I want that move. Let me leave. So it's a frustrating one because I can see it from all the different angles. But the reality is, if I look at it right now, we've signed Noni Madueke for 52 mil. We've signed Gyökeres for what will probably end up being somewhere around 60 mil. So that's the best part of, let's say, 100 to 115 mil that we'll have spent on Madueke and Gyökeres. Isak will probably go for somewhere in the region of 120 to 130 mil, I would imagine. So for an extra 20 mil, if we had have just not signed Madueke, not signed Gyökeres, and just been more aggressive with our Isak approach, we could have got him for give or take the same money that we're spending on those two players. And the reason I make that point is because, first of all, I don't think Madueke is a player that we needed to sign. We have Nwaneri as a backup to Saka, and ultimately we have two left wingers. So for me, that money spent on Madueke, it's done now, so there's no point talking about it. But I'm just saying, theoretically, I don't think we needed to spend 52 million on Madueke. And obviously, we wouldn't have spent the money on Gyökeres if we were going all out for Isak. And for me as an Arsenal fan, at the beginning of this transfer window and even back in January, my whole argument was, whatever Arsenal do, they have to go and get the best possible striker available. And Isak is that. And okay, you can say, look, he wasn't available, but we're seeing right now in the last 24 hours, you apply a little bit of pressure, you ask the right questions, you knock on the door enough, and all of a sudden that can change really quickly. And so it's just frustrating to be sitting here in a situation where it looks like the one guy that almost every Arsenal fan would have loved to have seen walk through the doors at Arsenal is now potentially going to end up at one of our biggest rivals, who have already strengthened what is a Premier League winning team significantly, which means that we are, we're up for a real challenge next season. So yeah, it's an interesting one. As I said, I think there's a chance that Isak stays, because I think Newcastle, by the sounds of it, don't have a really big reason to sell. From what I understand, Isak still has another 3 years on his contract. Newcastle have made the Champions League. They're financially in a decent position. So I don't think they need to sell. I think this will come down to how much pressure Isak puts on Newcastle to let him go. How badly does Isak want to leave Newcastle? That's what this is going to come down to. So it'll be an interesting one to see how it plays out. I mean, could Isak play on the left wing? Could he play kind of, that left wing cutting in, second striker / winger alongside Gyökeres? And could he be the left wing option for Arsenal? I don't know, but what I do know is if we were to go after Isak, it would definitely mean he would be our one and only signing for the rest of the summer window, which means no Eze. So if I'm being really calculated and applying some common sense, I think we have to just accept defeat in the Isak one. And I think we have to get behind Gyökeres. And I think our focus needs to be on buying a central attacking creative player, which in my opinion has to be Eze. And then I think we have to go out and address that left wing position. I think if we do those two pieces of business, we're in a really good position. But as I said, and I know I've repeated myself a few times in this video, the real frustration and the point of making this video is that there were all these reasons, these supposed reasons why Arsenal weren't going to be able to get Isak. And I think what has happened in the last 24 hours is all of those reasons have just been knocked left, right, out of the park. And so what I'm saying is sometimes we just need to be bolder. We need to be braver, and we need to show a level of confidence and aggression and say, hang on a minute, we're Arsenal Football Club. We want that player and we want him and we're going to take him. What do you want? Newcastle say, I want 140. We go, bang, here's 140. Everyone keeps saying, oh, Liverpool didn't sign any players in January. They didn't sign any players last year before the season started. We're pretty much in the same boat. We didn't sign anyone in January, and we signed a couple of $20, $30 million players leading into the season before. So, we finished second in the Premier League. So how big is the difference in terms of money received from first to second? I'm not 100% sure, but we would have earned money from finishing second in the Premier League. We got further than Liverpool in the Champions League. We got to the semi-finals. So again, money there. We made the semi-final League Cup. So there must be money there for Arsenal to spend. So yeah, look, it is what it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think we should be going after Isak? Do you think we should leave it? Let me know. I hope you have a great day. Speak to you soon.